Welcome to the Barker Podcast Collection.
I suck, you suck, I suck at Call of Duty. You suck. You suck. You suck.
Welcome to the Not Playing Podcast. My name's Rob Howard, and this week I'm joined by
Ian Bruce.
And Marcus Hurley.
We're also joined by
Will. Hello, I'm Will. Nice to meet you.
I've only really got one to mention, to be honest, and that's Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. I've only played about 3 or 4 hours, maybe, just over the weekend. It only came out last week at the time of recording, and basically this is Naughty Dog and Sony trying to see if there's any gas in the tank with the Uncharted season, the Uncharted franchise, without Nathan Drake, who's, I don't want to say too much about Uncharted 4, but that's kind of like the end of his story, I think. So this one, basically, you play as Chloe Fraser, who was in Uncharted 2, I believe. She's an Australian, and she's like a bit of a Tomb Raider. It's even more like Tomb Raider than it was, in a way.
It's even more like Tomb Raider than Tomb Raider now.
Pretty much, yeah, it is. And she's teamed up with Nadine Ross, who is from Uncharted 4. She was like one of the like mercenaries. She was leader of the mercenary company that you were kind of fighting in that. They do mention the Drakes now and then, but it's very much their own adventure. And so far, it's been the usual mixture of fighting, climbing around things, and solving puzzles that you would expect. It looks lovely. I think in some ways it's a little rough around the edges. Doesn't feel like they've given it quite the same level of polish as the main series. But yeah, this is definitely a proper game in its own right. It's I think I paid 20 quid for it on Amazon, and I pre-ordered it because the reviews came out in advance and they were pretty decent. So I thought, I love Uncharted, I'll play this, whatever. And I believe it's about 8 hours long in total. So I feel like that's all right, given the production value of it all. But yeah, you get to use the...
This isn't a full-price game either, is it?
No, it was. I mean, I bought it new, a boxed copy, and it was 20... I think it's 30 on the store, but it's if you just get like a copy from Amazon, it's less than 25. I think I got a pre-order discount or something. But yeah, you get the grappling hook still in there, so you can leap off to your death like a lemming, and then press the R1 button and go soaring up into the sky and land somewhere. And I've just got to the 4th chapter, which basically is like the first kind of open world level. There was a level in Uncharted 4 where you got to drive around in a Jeep and like use the winch to kind of get up things and open big doors and stuff. And that's kind of the same deal here, really. I'd kind of finished my thought, really.
Okay.
So, unless anyone has any questions, I have.
The only question I have is, Ark's gone out of early access today. Why is it 50 quid? They're greedy motherfuckers,
because it's finally released. Because it's finally released.
You know why? Not sure I should say this, because I'm affiliated in some way. Because they're pushing for the whole console release. It's all bundled up. Technically, it's kind of gone gold now, even though it's... Well, not gold, but technically because they've got the whole console release, they're treating the game as finally finished and ready to be rolled out. It's been released for 2 years.
Yeah.
So there's a big push to remarket the game, even though it's 2 years old.
Well, 50 quid is a good remarketing. Bobby, to answer your question, I'm quite keen to play that, but I haven't finished 4 yet.
I can't play any.
to be honest, it feels like the right length for that kind of game. I feel like, in a way, Uncharted 4 might have slightly outstayed its welcome by the end, because it is a massive game. That it's like 15, 16 hours, and it looks beautiful all the way through. Like, you're constantly amazed by all these environments and all the imagination of all the puzzles and the level design and all the combat encounters. It's all really top notch. It just feels like there's a bit too much of it.
Right.
So I would say, like, it, and I felt like that, even though I kind of dropped off I got about halfway through 4, and like, I think I was interrupted by The Last Guardian, which I had on loan from work, so I sort of took a break to finish that, and I was also playing Dishonored 2 as well. So I sort of dealt with Uncharted 4 in 2 parts, and each time it felt like I was dealing with an entire game. So they had a lot to get off their chest, obviously, in that. I've got one other game I could mention, but I feel like, I do have to caveat hugely how I got it, because it's one from work.
I have one as well, if you want to do yours first.
I have a couple, yeah. But go for it.
You guys go ahead, and literally we'll just do mine if we have time, because I feel a bit awkward talking about it, but yeah, go ahead.
Do you want to go ahead, Ian?
It's one that's been discussed before, I'm fairly sure. Wolfenstein: The New Order.
Ooh,
I haven't spoken about this before, have I? Not here. I think I've spoken about it elsewhere.
I don't think so. We talked
I've definitely spoken about it,
E3, but that was about it.
So you can get it for about £4 now on reputable sites. It's extremely cheap. It's the reboot of Wolfenstein, one of the earliest first-person shooter games. And I remember Rob saying good things about it, other people saying good things about it, but for whatever reason I just didn't want to give it a go. Got it a few weeks ago, installed it, played the first level, thought about not carrying on. Very glad I carried on. It's
it's great.
It's a really good game. There's like a hub area that feels like Metro or stuff. It's kind of a hub area. A couple of missions start in the same place, and you've got to go and meet people in this little kind of building thing, this shack thing. Graphically, it looks beautiful. It's extremely on rails. There's some really good levels. The only negative thing I would say about it is it just felt like it stopped. I felt invested, and then it got to the end, and it just kind of went, nah, that's the end of that. Nah.
Sounds like you might have enjoyed it a bit too much.
It was definitely one of those games. I think I'm going to have the same with Dishonored 2, which I played a load of over the weekend, where I get to the end and go, oh, you bastards. It's not enough, you utter motherfuckers. I know there's another Wolfenstein I can buy, and I'll probably wait until that one's £4, which it probably is at the moment. But if you've got £4 and fancy an old school shooter looking really nice, with some really mad kind of semi-bosses, or bosses with a semi, I guess. Some of it's just bizarre. That was it. That's all I've really been playing.
Awesome.
I think.
Yeah, no, the old Blood is the other one, and that's good. The thing I liked about those games that I remember the most is just the whole sentry system, where you kind of have an ability to stealth it up to an extent, but then it all kind of goes to shit, and then you just deal with it however you.
Sorry, there's a way of playing stealthy. What? Oh right, maybe I'll replay
sentries, there's these sentries, and they'll constantly call reinforcements if you don't take them out first. And I guess because I'm just a absolute wuss, I would always try and stab them up or just avoid everyone entirely. But you can play that game like a stealth game if you want.
Oh, okay. Okay, maybe I will play it again then. Best way to meet girls, really, isn't it?
Stealth. Yeah, I used. I think there's some footage on my YouTube channel of my attempts at stealth in that game. So yeah, even though I might be saying that I played it stealthy, it's like in my mind I played it stealthy. But in reality, I just walked in quietly and then died lots. So, yeah. No, it's a great game, though. Love it. Anyone else got anything, then, they've been playing?
Oh, yeah. Well, the thing that I may have mentioned in a different podcast, I have been playing the Friday the 13th game.
Okay.
So that might explain.
Yeah.
I was going to mention that, but I
someone said
thought
something
no.
else.
Okay.
We tried to murder some councillors.
I see, right.
It was...
so you have been murdering people?
I
understand that.
Politely, you go up to them and say, frightfully sorry about this. You go a bit Hugh Grant. Just please lie down while I drive this axe into your head.
Welcome to the Not Murdering Celebrities podcast.
But I gotta say, it looks like a really subdued game. It's an online only game, unfortunately, but it's one of those ones where you go into a lobby of, say, I think it's 6 people max. I'm not sure, 6 or maybe 7. One of you spawns as Jason.
Yeah.
You can choose your preference to spawn as Jason, and that increases your chances significantly, or you can choose to be a counsellor, because the game changes so much. It's basically, this is the game that previous game Evolve wishes it was.
Yeah. Dead by Daylight.
Yeah. I've not played that, but I've heard it. Yeah, it's pretty similar.
Excuse me, I believe the term is called asymmetric multiplayer.
Oh,
look at you, Captain Fast Googler. Jesus.
It can't all be amazing, but but I've only played the game a couple of times. I've already had some moments that have made me go yes. One of which was getting a flare gun and a monkey wrench as a counsellor. Beating Jason in the head with a monkey wrench, running out of a garage with a flare gun, turning round, and then headshotting the bastard. Where you don't die as Jason, you just run out of time. Basically, if you're a counsellor, you have to escape. There's you can do various tasks. You can either repair the phones and then call for the police. I'm not sure if that's a way out, or maybe it's like you have to survive until the police come. You can get a boat and try to escape that way, or you can repair a car which is on site and then try to escape. The thing is, when you're Jason, you can intercept the escape routes. I've seen people go out in the boat. When I've died and I've been spectating, there's a person that was going out to sea in a boat, and Jason's popped up and dragged them under and killed them. I've seen people be taken out when they're in the car on their way to escaping. He pops up, stops the car, and brutally kills them. So even though you may have repaired the car, it's only until you're actually either, I think, off the map or completely free, then you've escaped.
Are you playing this on PC or PS4?
I played it on Xbox because I had a couple of credits on my account.
Okay.
It was £34. I don't know. I don't know if it's possible. I think because of the nature of what he is, I don't think you can beat him per se. I think it's just a case of slowing him down and stopping him enough.
So you can't spawn Freddy to fight him?
No. Oh god, that movie was terrible.
That'll be DLC.
Yeah, that will be DLC.
Yeah, probably. Although there's loads of versions of Jason. There's the version 2, which has got the bag over the head, and you've got the various ones with machete, axe, and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Space Jason. He's got a whole set of skills himself. I mean, you can choose to be a particular counsellor, and they've all got their own sets of skills. So you add perks to one of them, like, faster running or more stamina or better at repairing things and all that sort of stuff. And I think you then spawn as that person. So it's like a typical class system for counsellors. But I think as Jason, though, you've got... I know, it's weird talking about a class system and Friday the 13th in the same sort of idea. But as Jason, you've got a set of skills. There's one where you can teleport to any part on the map instantly, so you've got fast travel. Because, let's face it, he's a horror icon, is what he does in the films. Another one is kind of like a mist travel, where the camera goes all a bit Evil Dead, and the camera's panning. And it's like, you turn into a panning camera, and you can control the direction roughly, and you kind of like chase after your victim. You become literally just this flying camera, and you hit grab, and then that's an instant kill. So you can die really, really quickly, in this. You can lock doors, but then if you're Jason, you can smash through the doors, smash through windows. You can grab people through windows. So they could be like in a secured house, and if you're Jason, you're by a window. You'll smash the window, grab them, and then you can kill them from that. So it feels as though it's quite even. Although I'm preferring playing a counsellor, because I found that the learning curve for being Jason was a little steep. Only because I got bored of not being able to murder people because they kept running away. But yeah,
okay.
I would say it's quite fun. I think if you got a couple of friends on there, it's definitely one of those games that's going to become quite a laugh.
Yeah,
I'll have a look and see when it's sort of, or what is out, and I might get it on PC. If
there were 6 of you, can you go into your game and just play with the 6 of you?
You can do a party, private party.
Okay, cool.
So you can literally have all your mates on there, and then just wet yourselves laughing, trying to escape as one of you hunts you down and goes all Cthulhu.
I think that would be good, but I don't want to pay 30 quid for it, and a number of people have said it's broken on the PC,
it's worth a
or
wait.
it has been broken.
It's worth a wait. Like I said, I had a couple of credits on my account still left over, so I just thought, why not bite the bullet?
Okay. Well, if you're getting value from it,
yeah,
good for you.
Well, Susie's enjoying it. She's been having a go. She wants to play it.
Jesus, excellent.
I know. She's a massive horror fan.
Nice. Okay.
She loves it. She was really frustrated at not being able to hit people with the axe when she spawned as Jason. I've never seen anyone's face go from glee to utter disappointment in the space of 10 minutes.
Many people thought that about Glee, to be honest, but that's all right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I've there's a lot of mixed reviews about Friday the 13th. Mr. Biscuit, Total Biscuit wasn't particularly praiseworthy of it, but it seems like the kind of game they're going to give. They're not going to give up on, and I feel like there's sufficient interest in it for them to try and improve things as it goes
it's already
on.
got a major patch that's fixed some of the bugs and stuff that have come up in it. Like I said, it seems a bit. It feels, when you first put it on, you kind of almost feel a bit, oh, is that it? There's not much to it. But when you get into it, it's kind of like any multiplayer arena. I mean, let's put it honest, it is an arena sandbox multiplayer. Yeah. You pick a stage, you survive.
Yeah.
But it's getting into it. It's the nitty-gritty of surviving. You forget about everything else, and then you're just you and the character, and then just trying to get on with objectives. So I found it quite fun. My little
was it?
1 or 2
I think this might have been crowdfunded, and I think there was a bit of fuss about the fact that it was crowdfunded, and they probably should have gone down the early access route with it and been a bit more honest if they were asking for that much.
Yeah, I avoided all of that sort of
game.
stuff, so I didn't really know. I've just jumped in at the end and thought, this looks like a laugh.
No, I've heard lots of things about it. It's definitely been on the radar, but
so
there's a new update going.
I'm going to keep playing it. I'll let you know if it improves.
Cool. All right. Anyone else got anything?
There was one more game that I've been playing, and it's a recent release by a company that one of us might be familiar with, and it's Sonic Mania.
Just looking at that.
Yeah. So yep, sugar.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sony, right?
Sonic Mania by Amstrad.
Is it good? And is this on PC or Xbox again?
It's multi-format.
Okay.
It came out on PC today, but I don't know how I would know that.
No. Yeah, called Knuckles. Don't ask how he got his name. But I gotta say, it's, to sum it all up in a really dumbed down level, it's basically the Sonic 2 premise of you've got Sonic and Tails.
Okay.
And it's sort of whoever's Sonic, Tails gets kind of brought in. You can both go, you've got some control over Tails, and whoever's pretty much in charge of the level runs through it, and the other person disappears off and drags back on.
Yeah, split screen is
I found the perfect... I've realised actually that Suze is massively better at Sonic than me. We did a time trial challenge and she kicked my ass consistently. I think it was 6-0. My tail's between my legs firmly. But it was just... But I did find a use for Tails, and it was heroic mode activate, basically. We were ourselves laughing because there was this boss where it was just launching rockets, and you had to basically keep jumping over all of these rockets and hitting the blue ones. It would spin off and take out the boss. But I basically realised that as Tails, I could fly into the rockets and it wouldn't affect Sonic's lives. So I engaged Randy Quaid mode from Independence Day and was basically becoming Tails the Human Shield.
Oh.
Thus allowing her to take out the actual rockets that would spin off without having to deal with the others. But yeah, no, I would say it's actually, sort of all the jokes on the side, it's a fantastic reimagining of the old Sonic games. A much more I mean, I had Sonic on the old on one of my phones, on my earlier phone, and the problem is it had the non-responsive controls, so they've upped that, so it is a lot more responsive than it was. You still jump to your doom. There are still moments where you'll be hurtling along at supersonic speed, no pun intended, and then suddenly find yourself flying into an enemy or landing on spikes. But that was the nature of those games. They were programmed so that, you know, as you hit these points, it's like Mario where you take the leap of faith. There will always be an enemy there.
I've got a couple of brief thoughts about this game, and I'll keep them very brief. But yeah, I've been playing it a bit. I've been playing it a bit on PS4. And yeah, it's basically like you, as you remember Sonic back in the day, but it's got they've basically redesigned the levels. It wasn't actually developed internally. It was some fans who had re-engineered, reverse engineered the code, and kind of were going to do their own sort of bootleg version. And Sonic kind of, rather than sending a cease or desist, kind of said, we really like what you're doing. Come and work with us, and we'll create a really cool, tribute game to Sonic. So, you know, the level's Green Hill Zone starts, and you're like going along, and you're like, I know where I'm going, and then all of a sudden something hits you, fires you off the other way, and then you realise the level that you're going through is like about 4 times the size of the original, and it's got all these alternative ways to go through it. So there's heaps of replay value because you can go lots of different ways through the levels. I think you could do that anyway back in the day. But honestly, just speaking from a place of genuine love for the franchise, back in the day, I played it as a kid. It totally taps into that.
Yeah.
And finally, after what's been quite a long time, we've got a really genuinely well-reviewed, well-regarded, and very fun Sonic game. And it's funny that it's just taken this long and this approach, to get that. So yeah, well, no, I'm glad.
Well, that's the thing.
Were you reading from a document there, Rob, or was that actually your personal opinion? No, because it certainly came across like...
Yeah. But
I'm sorry if that sounded...
No, it didn't. No, yeah.
I have been thinking about a tactful way of talking about this without sounding like a shill. So, I think I failed.
To be honest though, all cynicism aside, we started playing this around sort of midday. I just literally was saying to Suze, what game should we get that couch co-op? And I saw Sonic Mania was on there, bought it. We started playing it, and then when we put the pad down, eventually, it was 6 o'clock in the evening.
Yeah, it's difficult to put down. I certainly have had to drag myself away from
games.
it. To be honest, though, the fact that you die does kind of give you at least that kind of element of, oh, fuck it, and just put the thing away type thing. Yeah. You do run out of lives and stuff, and oxygen and all sorts.
I don't think I've ever uttered these words, and excuse me, listener, for them, but I don't think in my life, probably not since I was about, 14, I've never uttered the words, you stupid, blue, supersonic, cunting fool, why don't you jump on the motherfucking block like I've shown you?
Cool. All right. So has anyone got anything else, or are we done? I think we're done.
I think we're done.
This has been the Not Playing podcast in partnership with notlistening.co.uk, where you can also hear myself, Marcus and Ian talk about movies and TV on the Not Watching podcast, and Adam, Ash and Will talk about all manner of funny things on the Not Listening podcast. You can email us at notplayingpodcast@gmail.com, or you can tweet at or follow us on Twitter at notplayingpod. You can find the show notes for this show at notlistening.co.uk, and if you're listening to us on iTunes, then please do give us a review. Anyway, that's all for now. Thanks for listening. See ya.
I suck